GB News can exclusively reveal that prison staff have been attacked over 10,000 times by Muslim inmates in just 4 years. Muslim prisoners attacked staff 10,437 times between 2020 and 2024. That's according to Ministry of Justice data that we have got here exclusively at GB News. There are 15,594 Muslim prisoners in England and Wales.
Keep in mind, you know, the UK, I don't know the exact size of it, but it's just an island, for God's sakes. It's probably like the size of a state. So all these numbers, multiply them by 50 so that you understand, you know, if it was the United States and this was happening, it'd be 50 times worse. So keep that in mind. Like 10,000, think of that in 50 states. How much is that? That's like 500,000 times in 4 years.
Meaning that attacks by Muslim prisoners are more common than any other religion. It's little wonder there are now massive concerns about the power that Muslim gangs wield in British prisons. Just last month, the Manchester Arena bomb plotter Hashim Abedi brutally attacked 3 prison officers in the separation unit at HMP Frankland. He threw hot oil at officers and stabbed them with improvised blades, leaving them with life-changing injuries. The notorious Islamist hate preacher Anjem Chowdhury was in that same separation unit as Abedi, and there are concerns that Chowdhury may have inspired that brutal attack. And as if that wasn't bad enough, last week this happened. Very serious breaking news tonight. The Southport murderer Axel Rudakabana has attacked a prison officer. Yeah, the evil Southport murderer allegedly hurled boiling water over prison officers in HMP Belmarsh, and then, lo and behold today, there was more. GB News exclusively revealed that a prison officer had their throat slashed with an improvised weapon at HMP Wood Hill, a Category B clink in Milton Keynes. In a separate incident at the same jail, another officer was attacked by an inmate detained under the Terrorism Act 2008. It gets worse, I'm afraid. The Prison Officers Association has also reported that a prison officer had a television thrown at him, and a female officer sustained a broken arm after a prisoner attacked them while pretending to have an epileptic fit at Gartree Prison. The Justice Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, was busy announcing measures to ease overcrowding in prisons today.
I can announce today that the Treasury will fund our prison expansion plans in full across the spending review period. This is a total capital investment of £4.7 billion.
Keep in mind, multiply that by 50 if you want to know, you know what I mean? Pounds are pretty much dollars, I think. I'm not sure.
It allows us to start building 3 new prisons, including breaking ground on a site near HMP Gartree later this year.
But who will be in these 3 new jails, and what will she do to protect our brave prison officers? And in light of all of the statistics that I've just shown you there, do we have a specific problem in Britain with Muslim prisoners? So there appears to be something happening here, doesn't there, which is that there's more and more and more attacks on our brave prison officers, and all too often they are committed by Muslim inmates.
Look, for me, this is a show of force. It's all happened a lot recently as well. We're talking about 10,000 attacks over 4 years. That's almost 50 a week on prison officers. That's a huge amount. Now, look, I through my line of work...
And that 50 a week, multiply that by 50 states if you want to, you know, compare it to what it would be like in our country.
I've got friends that have been in prison for much of their life, and he tells me since 2010 the whole prison system has completely changed now. If a young inmate goes in, whether they're white, black or brown, they are pressured to convert. Now, if you don't convert, you know, the consequences could be pretty harsh. And he tells me that once a lot of these people come out of prison, they're suddenly no longer following that faith. So we have a massive sort of gang problem that is wrapped up as a religious group.
Yeah. What do you make of this, Nina? I mean, do you think that we have a specific problem here? How do we deal with it? I mean, the stats, to be fair, would suggest that we do have a specific problem. So I suppose, how should we deal with it? I suppose we can't have, Muslim-only prisons, can we, really?
No, absolutely not. And that would actually foster far more hatred of and do the exact opposite of what we wanted. I agree with Mark. The prisoners who are likely who have got nothing to lose, who are most likely to be violent, should be separated. I mean, decades ago, many of them would have gone to Broadmoor where obviously mental problems would have meant they'd have been institutionalised, kept separate. But
this written down here: terrorists should lose all human rights, in my opinion. No TVs, no gaming consoles. They should be let out 1 hour a day, and they shouldn't mix with other people. Make it hell on earth. If prison was hell on earth, I mean, terrorists will probably do it anyway if it's for a religious reason or political reason. But for the hardest of prisoners, to make it so less appealing to be in prison, for some youth, they're getting fed every day, they're having mates around them, and it's structure. So there are people on the street that would rather be in prison than on the street.
Today we were told that we're going to get a national inquiry into Pakistani rape gangs. This is good news for victims and survivors, but bad news for all those who tried to cover it up or denied a problem existed, like journalist Owen Jones.
About vulnerable white girls being targeted by British Pakistani grooming gangs. Now, that is the sort of thing you would have expected to read in BNP leaflets, and which not that long ago had actually been condemned by Tory and Labour politicians alike. But we are in 2023 in the worst possible timeline. It's not true. It's really important to make this very, very clear. It isn't true.
Yeah, it is though, isn't it? Or ex-BBC Emily Maitlis.
Do you not think, Emily, there's an issue with Pakistani Muslims raping working class white underage girls? Do you not think there's an issue there?
I think
there is an
appalling issue with grooming.
Are you telling
when it hits any community and any age?
We only ever hear you talk about Pakistani. Are you telling me there's no issue?
I'm telling you that you are focusing on Pakistani grooming gangs because probably you're racist and you don't believe that there are white perpetrators of the same crime. Can you just...
No one is saying there ain't whites. It's just I don't know what the percentage is, but when you have 80% or more, 90% of the rape is done by a specific group, and they're from another country where they have different values. That's why diversity of skin color is one thing. Diversity of value systems, you can't have different value systems in the same country.
Or because, as it turns out, Emily, it's a massive problem. Then, of course, there's Hope Not Hate's self-appointed anti-fascist in chief, Nick Lowles. In 2023, he said the Home Secretary, who was Suella Braverman, was singling out British Pakistani men, and that was irresponsibly stirring up hate. Okay, so now he has the audacity to say, for too long the victims have been ignored, not believed, and let down. Yeah, by who, Nick? Anyway, Diane Abbott said today, there is a lot of nonsense and deliberate misinformation about child sexual grooming. She then shared dodgy stats on the amount of white people involved in grooming. You know what, Diane? I'm just not sure you're the best person when it comes to numerical accuracy.
Would 10,000 police officers cost?
We believe it'll be about £300,000.
£300,000?
Sorry,
10,000 police officers? What are you paying them?
No, I mean, sorry.
How much will they cost?
It will cost.
Absolutely. There's no I'm not. Look, people have turned a blind eye. There's no I'm not denying that, including you. Absolutely not me. I have never turned a blind eye. I never would shy away from calling a problem what it is.
Yeah, but we're not thick, Jess, and that's an issue for you, isn't it? Because we're all old enough to remember you flat out refusing an inquiry in Oldham, and I don't think you can really act like that never happened. So today it emerged that the civil service wanted Michael Gove to go to court to block the publishing of a report on the Pakistani rape scandal in 2011. He refused, but this just shows you what the establishment thinks about it. Suella Braverman was hounded for saying this: grooming gangs are groups of men, almost all British Pakistani, who hold cultural attitudes completely incompatible with British values. So ipso, one of the press watchdogs, hammered her for that. Now it turns out, she was right, wasn't she? We've had to put up with opinion columns like this, just going to read the headline for you now in the Metro. The majority of sexual offenders are white men. There is no problem, no Muslim problem with sexual grooming. Right, turns out that's a load of rubbish, isn't it? Because we could all see it with our own eyes. It's one thing getting this national inquiry. The next thing now is to make sure that this report is not a whitewash, because the left-wing media, Labour politicians, establishment lovies, they're all going to want this to just go away. And we can't let that happen. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. We have Reform UK Councillor Jamie McIver. We've also got broadcaster and columnist Esther Krakow and journalist Jonathan Liss. Jamie, I'll start with you. I suppose it's been a long time coming, this, but, you know, day of shame, I think, really, for a lot of those people on that little montage that I showed there, denying the reality of the situation.
Well, of course, they're part of the problem. These are people that are publicly facing, kind of denying the truth. You've then had this institutional problem within councils, within the police forces, and so I think it is a day of shame. It's a day of shame for Britain. I also feel ashamed. You know, is there anything more I could have done? You know, speaking up. You know, and actually, how many more people will be feeling like that? That actually, you know, people were concerned about being called racist. People have been called out on being prejudiced, but actually, it's facts, isn't it? And I think, you know, thank goodness there have been people giving the facts to the public. Thank goodness there have been people that have not been scared to have those uncomfortable conversations. But I think what we've got to remember, Patrick, at the heart of all of this, there has been some atrocious crimes committed here. And the people...
I've been called a racist now for 4 or 5 years. Well, these women are getting raped. And no one wanted to admit it because they were white.
People that are victim to this, those poor girls, they have to be at the epicenter of whatever happens. And I just hope that our Prime Minister, who I do not trust one bit, I just hope this isn't just a reactive decision because of the fact he's, you know, polling horrendously. There are some girls out there and their families that need justice, and I just hope that they're going to be serious and do this properly.
Well, what I worry about is that the reason why Baroness Casey apparently came out and eventually said, look, let's just have this national inquiry, was because she was trying to get local councils to give her a bit more information. And she thought, hang on a minute, why aren't you? So maybe there is a serious...
I mean, she mentioned that the word Pakistani was typexed out in one of the reports, which is... I mean, just goes to show the scale of the problem. I think what's even more disgusting about all of this is this was clearly racially targeted. And I think that's what people are so affronted by. I mentioned the 2006 Birmingham riots, which was started by an unsubstantiated rumor of a black Caribbean girl being gang raped by men of Pakistani heritage. And that started a riot that was linked to the death of 2 men. And no one called these people that were saying, hang on, is there someone raping a girl in our communities? No one called these black people protesting racist, right? But the reason why something like this has gone on, even the people like Ann Cryer blew the whistle back in 2001, and you've had journalists like Julie Bindel trying to bring this to national attention, is because the sad reality is the victims were white, and that's something that is such a shame on the British conscience that I really just makes me physically sick trying to think about it, because that's the reality. That's the only reason why it's been this bad and this endemic, because if there were a bunch of Chinese girls or, you know, black British girls of whatever heritage, this would not have got this bad or far.
This is Modi Speaks on YouTube. MODY Speaks.
Simple as just reading a few Maya Angelou poems during Black History Month. We have to fully incorporate the work and ideas of people of colour into each aspect of the curriculum by rethinking the very foundations of our education system to a point where it doesn't feel performative but provides a beneficial insight. And the final step is to adapt. The whole point of decolonising the curriculum is to make the outlooks and experiences we study more universal. And naturally, these change with time.
Hey guys, my name is Madi and you are welcome to Madi Speaks. It is safe to say that the UK...
How do you decolonize the UK when the UK people are the indigenous people?
As we know it, has fallen. Yes. The UK has fallen. I made this post on X and I said, this nonsense can only be tolerated in the West. No country in Africa will empower a non-indigene to come on a podium and complain about how the academic curriculum is made up of African authors and African teachings. I was referring to the video below, and I will be playing it for you guys shortly. And yes, I meant every word. When you get to a point where anybody can come into your country, easily become a citizen, and then be given a platform and a voice to complain and cry that the academic curriculum of that country needs to be decolonized using the words decolonization in your own country, your own fatherland,